Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video in which I'm going to talk to you about laser hair removal. It's a topic I get quite a few questions on, and to be honest, I'm a little bit embarrassed to talk about it, and it is probably because I didn't watch a video like this before I got laser hair removal, and I think that would have been really good if I did. I want to talk about basics that you need to know, like how it works and does it hurt. I want to talk to you about my experience, and I also want to say what my tips would be if you decide to get laser hair removal, what my tips are for before you go into it. Okay, so before I start off, I just want to say that I'm no expert in any way, but in my experience and limited research, these are the tips I can give you. This is the information I want to share with you, but I'm no dermatologist, I'm not a laser hair removal technician. Really, you have to do your own research, but I hope this video is going to be useful for you. First, very important point is that it is not going to be permanent. For the majority of people who get laser hair removal, hair will start growing back. I think before I went to do having laser hair removal, I thought that yes, I would need to get loads of sessions and that I would probably have to have a top up like every now and then, but then that would be it. Because I didn't realize that when you buy a bunch of sessions, that would be one session every 6 to 7 weeks. And I bought 6 sessions to begin with, and I thought that was gonna really make a difference. And for some people it does, but it's probably nowhere even near as good as you expect it to be. Second, laser hair removal works best if you have really fair skin and really dark hairs, because how the laser works is it detects the dark roots of your hair in your skin, so the bigger the contrast is, the best it's going to work and the best results you're going to get. Now, this was something I did not know, which we'll get into later, and as far as I know, you can get different lasers for darker skin types. Now, I am not that pale. I do come off, I think this camera does make me look very pale, but my skin is a little bit olive, which is already making it harder for laser to work. But you can get different technologies and laser will work on all skin colors, but it will work less efficiently. Next is that you can get different types of laser, and a technology that's still around but is nowhere near as efficient is IPL. Even though it does work, but you'll in the long run have to take more sessions. But saying that, I do have a good friend who is currently having IPL laser hair removal sessions, and in fairness, it's worked better on her than it did on me. And I had other technology that's not IPL. I can't tell you what it is exactly, but I know that it states on their website, the clinic I went with, that they do not use IPL, but it didn't specify either what they use, and I never really asked because I knew so little about it at the time. So if you're going for laser hair removal, do your own research, but I would say don't go with IPL. Next question, does it hurt? Now, I have quite a high pain tolerance, and in my opinion, it is not painful. However, after a couple of sessions, I just thought this just isn't working, and I had an evaluation and they decided to put the heat up, or the laser intensity up. It was a lot more painful then, but it would be weird because it would be like they would be doing one underarm and that would be fine, but then they go on to the next and I'm just like, ugh, like my skin feels like it's burning off. Not as extreme at all, but I do like to exaggerate. Point is, a little bit painful, but you can just tell them whenever it's getting a bit nippy or hot. It's not that bad at all, but you can tell them to stop for a couple of seconds, and they have different types of cooling technology that they can use, going from air to cryogen, or you can ask if you want to know more about this. Definitely ask your clinic as many questions as you can, because that is something I did not do. Okay. So next, I'm gonna tell you about my experience getting laser hair removal. I'm not gonna tell you the whole story, but basically anything that comes along that sounds like it's gonna make your life better and you can look pretty without making an effort, that's all I want ever from life. Okay, that's a bit shallow, but I do want other things, but that is the main thing. Anyway, so I was hooked. And this clinic, I noticed that they have a sale on laser hair removal, so I booked them for a consultation. And honestly, I have so little willpower when someone's trying to sell me something that I immediately go, yes, okay, cool, I'll take it. Because I wanted laser hair removal everywhere. And on the phone they asked me like what kind of hair I have, and I thought, well, all kinds. Like I have thin, blondish hair and I have thick, darker hair. And they were like, okay. So I went for my consultation and they did like a patch test, which was grand. And they didn't really look at my hair anywhere, to be honest, apart from on my arms. But my arms, I wasn't getting laser hair removal on my arms anyway. And like, you can't see hairs on my arm, really. And my legs are just a touch darker than that, but not a whole lot. They just told me it wouldn't work, which is great, but they only told me it wouldn't work after I paid for the whole package, which is quite funny, but then I could transfer it to another area. So I used that to get 6 more sessions in my bikini area, because that was where the laser made the most difference. So yes, my hair is different all over my body. I would say bikini and underarm hairs are my darkest, and I've been epilating my legs for years, since basically I was 16, and like once or twice a month I would epilate. So my hairs on my leg were thin and sparse from all that epilating, but they are still darker than my skin. And to be honest, at the time I did not know anything about your skin and hair having to contrast at all. And of course they didn't tell me, and I was silly enough to not do my research on it. Bikini area is definitely where I have the lightest skin, because I seem to have permanent bikini lines. Yeah, and the hair is darkest there, so in hindsight that is why it ended up working best there. My underarms are, the skin's quite light and the hair is thick-ish and dark-ish. Now lip, I mean my face isn't very dark, but the hairs on my lip are not overly noticeable, but there is a lot of them. And they're mostly blonde. There is a couple of darker ones in the corners. And yes, I decided to get that too. It was, I don't know what to tell you, there was an offer, it sounded great. I thought it would make my life so much easier. But in my opinion, for myself, this does not mean that you should not get laser hair removal. But after having 7 sessions on my upper lip, underarm, lower leg, and 13 sessions on my bikini area, I would say it was a waste of money. Yes, it has removed, like my upper lip, it made 0 difference. Now my underarms, it made a slight difference, but I still shave as regularly. It's just a bit patchy. But a major downside is that whenever I said to them that it wasn't working well and they put up the laser intensity, that now my skin is permanently dry, my underarms are constantly dry, and they just feel so damaged, and I can't seem to moisturize them enough to get the skin back to how it was before laser hair removal. So that is not ideal. Next, my legs. The skin is also permanently dry on my legs, which is funny, not as damaged as on my underarms. A bit of moisturizing does tend to get rid of it, but still, and the hairs are a bit more sparse than they used to be, but honestly, it hasn't been that great. Now, that was after 7 sessions. So lip, underarm, leg, I had 7 sessions every 6 to 7 weeks for a year, and I haven't had a session in any of these areas in a year. Anyway, I haven't had laser in a long time, and some hairs grew back. There hasn't been like a major like growth of new hair ever since some of the hairs died, so that's nice. But honestly, I still have to epilate my legs the same amount as I did before. I still shave my underarms like, you know, every other day. Now bikini, I had 13 sessions, and to be honest, it has made a decent difference. And yeah, that is the only reason that I think it might be worth it for some people, because if you have really thick hair and if you shave, it is still not completely gone. That is probably actually pretty good if you have that for laser hair removal, because it will work quite nicely. And a lot of my hairs are gone, but it is kind of just patchy, you know, so it's not even like I do shave less frequently, to be honest, than I did before. So even if I'm on holiday, like I don't really have to worry about it as much as I would have been before, because then I would have to shave every day just to make sure, you know, if I'm wearing a bikini you can't see hairs. So yeah, to be honest, that was nice enough. But the only reason that I got more sessions in that area. To be honest, even overall, after I had 7 sessions all over, it did still make the biggest difference on my bikini area. So it wasn't the extra 6 sessions, but the only reason I got those extra 6 sessions is because they sold me full leg when they didn't even look at my leg and see that it wouldn't be working there at all, because my hair is basically lighter than my skin on my thighs. But they were nice and I could use it for my bikini area instead. So yeah, it hasn't really made a difference in my daily life and beauty hair removal routine at all, to be honest. And this is just my opinion, and I hope that it can help you think about whether it would be good or not for you. Because I do have a friend who's getting laser hair removal sessions, and she says that they have been great for her and that she's really glad that she's getting them done, and she's still getting them done, and we started at the same time. Okay, so things that you need to know if you do decide that you think laser hair removal would be good for you. I would say just consider what kind of hair removal you've been using before, because if you've been waxing or epilating, the hair would be thinner and it would be more sparse. I want to kind of say that if you have been waxing or epilating, to not bother getting laser hair removal, because on my legs it hasn't made much difference. And yes, so before you go to get your laser, you shave everywhere, and you want to shave because the laser essentially burns the hair follicles. They do ask you to shave completely before you go, and then you use aloe vera, or if they can offer you like aftercare packages, which I personally didn't take, but I would use aloe vera afterwards. And the other thing you should know, and this is a big one, is that you're not allowed to use sunbeds or tan in the period where you're getting your laser hair removal. I would say don't go in the sun and don't use sunbeds at all, but I know that's not realistic, and I did go on holiday as well and I did catch a bit of sun. But you want to make sure that, I think it's like, they do tell you this, and definitely ask your therapist. It's like something like 2 weeks before or after you've been in the sun, you're not supposed to get laser, because your skin is just more sensitive and you're more likely to get burnt and get skin damage. So yeah, just whenever I went on holiday, I asked what the appropriate time was to wait afterwards, and then that's when I went. And also, you're not supposed to use fake tan either, and that is again because the laser is going to be less efficient. I want to say that in between laser sessions you can use fake tan, but you want to make sure it's completely gone by the time you go into your session. It's like, I would just say definitely 100% stay away from sunbeds. One, it's really terrible for you, and everyone should just stay away from sunbeds. But if you choose to, then don't do laser hair removal, at least when you want to go into sunbeds, or when you do want laser hair removal, just for that period don't go into sunbeds, because you'll just get better value for your money if your skin's lighter. Okay, so the last point I want to make is just that you make sure that you don't have any hormonal imbalances. You'd have to do your research on this and go to your doctor because of it, but it is something that I noticed on the form that I signed before getting my laser hair removal, is that you should make sure about that. And I think ovarian cysts or like polycystic syndrome would be like an example of a hormonal imbalance. This is just something that you might know with yourself that you have, or you might want to go to your doctor to check about it, because yeah, it's one of the things they ask of you. And I would say definitely 100% make sure that you don't have any hormonal imbalances, because then that might result in hair regrowth, and you want to avoid that. But that is everything I wanted to say about laser hair removal. Thanks very much for watching. I hope that this is useful for you, and if you have any other questions, just comment down below and I'll answer them. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.